Beloved, I want you to understand something very powerful today. There is a divine certainty that governs the lives of those who walk with God. Nothing in your life is accidental, nothing is random, nothing is late, nothing is missing. You may have looked at the calendar and felt pressure. You may have watched days pass and whispered to yourself, I thought this year would look different. But heaven has not been silent. God has not been idle. And His word to you today is simple, clear, and full of assurance. It is all planned for the end of December. You see, God does not work with panic, and He does not respond to urgency the way men do. He works with precision. He works with intention. He works with timing. And when God plans, He plans from the end, not from the beginning. What you call delay is often divine sequencing. What you call waiting is often preparation. What you call confusion is sometimes God arranging things beyond your sight. There are seasons when it feels like nothing is happening, but that is usually when everything is happening beneath the surface. Seeds do not make noise when they grow underground. Roots expand in silence. Foundations are laid where eyes cannot see. And then suddenly, at the appointed time, everything bursts forth. That is how God operates. He allows the process to mature quietly so that the manifestation can be undeniable. The end of December is not just a date on a calendar. It represents completion. It represents fulfillment. It represents closure. It represents the finishing touch of God on a season that looked unfinished for too long. God is saying that what you thought would happen earlier was not delayed. It was scheduled. Scheduled for the moment when your character could carry it. Scheduled for the moment when your faith could sustain it. Scheduled for the moment when the testimony would glorify Him fully. Many people think God works best at the beginning. But the truth is that God specializes in endings. He is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. And when He speaks about the end, He speaks with authority. He speaks with certainty. He speaks with finality. When God says it's planned for the end of December, He is telling you that the story is not over yet. Do not close the book when heaven is still writing. Some of you have been tempted to emotionally check out. You kept moving physically, but your expectations quietly died. You prayed, but without expectation. You worshipped, but without anticipation. You hoped, but carefully, so you wouldn't be disappointed again. Yet God is saying today, lift your expectation again. The same faith you had in January is required now, because the promise has not expired. God does not forget His word. He does not misplace His promises. He does not change His mind halfway. When He spoke at the beginning of the year, He already saw the end of December. He already accounted for every obstacle, every tear, every setback, every delay, and every lesson. What surprised you did not surprise Him. What confused you was already calculated into the plan. You must understand that divine timing often contradicts human logic. God waits until there is no explanation except Him. He allows situations to reach a point where human strength fails so that His power can be revealed. When He steps in at the end, it becomes clear that it was never human effort holding things together. It was grace. It was favor. It was divine orchestration. The end of December is not late in God's calendar. It is right on time. The pressure you feel is not because God is behind, but because you're about to step into something new. Birth always comes with pressure. Transition always comes with discomfort. But pressure is not punishment, it is preparation. You may not see the full picture yet, but God sees it clearly. He sees how one conversation connects to another. He sees how one delay protected you from harm. He sees how one closed door redirected you to a better path. He sees how your tears watered the soil of your future. And He is saying, trust me. I know exactly what I am doing. Some blessings cannot arrive early because they require maturity. Some doors cannot open until your discernment is sharpened. Some relationships cannot manifest until you learn to value peace. Some breakthroughs cannot come until you learn obedience in the small things. God is not withholding, He is preparing. At the end of December, God often releases what could not survive earlier seasons. He waits until distractions fade. He waits until pride is softened. He waits until dependence on Him is complete. That way, when the blessing comes, it does not become an idol. When the miracle arrives, it does not replace the miracle worker. You see, faith is not tested when things are exciting. Faith is tested when nothing seems to move, yet God asks you to believe anyway. Faith is believing when the evidence is invisible. Faith is standing when the ground feels uncertain. And God honors that kind of faith. Some of you have been praying the same prayer all year. You wondered if God heard you. Hear this clearly. Heaven heard you the first time. What God is doing now is aligning everything necessary for the answer to last. Temporary blessings come quickly. Permanent blessings come precisely. Do not measure God's faithfulness by speed. Measure it by sustainability. What God gives you at the end of December will not need repair in January. What He releases will not collapse under pressure. What He completes will be stable, secure, and enduring. God is also restoring joy at the end of this year. He is healing hearts that grew tired. He is renewing minds that grew weary. He is reviving dreams that went quiet. He is reminding you that He is still the same God who keeps His word. And when it happens, it will happen suddenly, not gradually, not halfway, but fully. One day you will look back and realize that every delay was intentional. Every silence was purposeful. Every waiting season was shaping you for the moment of fulfillment. You will testify that God did not fail you. He perfected you. You will testify that God did not forget you. He refined you. You will testify that what seemed like an ending was actually a setup for a greater beginning. So lift your head, adjust your expectation, guard your heart from doubt. Speak life over your days. Align your words with God's promise. Refuse to conclude the year before God does, because God said it's all planned for the end of December. And when God plans, no power can cancel it. When God schedules, no delay can disrupt it. When God decides, no opposition can reverse it. Rest in that truth. Walk in that assurance. Rejoice in advance. The story is not over yet. The plan is unfolding. And the end of December will speak louder than the months that came before it. And so, beloved, remain sensitive in this season, because when God is about to complete something, He often speaks softly, not loudly. He draws your attention inward. He nudges your spirit. He refines your focus. This is not the time to be careless with your words or distracted in your thoughts. This is the time to align your inner confession with divine truth. Speak as one who knows that something is about to be finalized. Speak as one who understands that heaven is not improvising. Heaven is executing a plan that has already been written. You may notice that certain desires are falling away. Certain attachments no longer feel comfortable, and certain distractions are losing their appeal. That is not loss. That is alignment. God removes what cannot travel with you into the next phase. He lightens your load so you can move swiftly when the moment arrives. What you once chased, you now release easily, because you are becoming more aware of what truly matters. Do not misinterpret this quietness as emptiness. It is sacred stillness. It is the calm before divine completion. In this space, God is teaching you to trust Him without constant reassurance. He is strengthening your inner witness so that when the manifestation appears, you will recognize it immediately and not question whether it is truly from Him. Some things are falling into place without your involvement. Conversations are happening you are not present in. Decisions are being made in rooms you have never entered. Favor is speaking your name where your voice has never reached. That is how God works when He wants the glory to remain His. He arranges outcomes that cannot be traced back to human effort, only to divine intervention. And as the days move closer to the end of December, do not allow anxiety to creep into your heart. Anxiety is often a sign of trying to control what God has already secured. Peace is your confirmation that God is in charge. Let peace guard your heart. Let confidence anchor your mind. Let gratitude become your daily language, not because everything is visible yet, but because everything is settled in the Spirit. There is a reason God waits until the end. It teaches you patience. It teaches you humility. It teaches you to celebrate progress, not just arrival. And most importantly, it teaches you to rely on Him completely, not partially. when the outcome finally appears, you will know it could only have been God, because your strength was no longer enough to make it happen. This season is teaching you discernment. Not every delay is resistance. Not every silence is denial. Times God is simply ensuring that when He finishes, it is finished well. He is perfecting details you do not yet understand, protecting you from outcomes you cannot yet see, and preparing you for responsibilities you have not yet imagined. So continue to walk in faith, even when your emotions fluctuate. Continue to serve with excellence, even when recognition is delayed. Continue to believe, even when logic argues otherwise. Faith does not need constant proof. It rests in the character of God. And remember this, when God completes something at the end of a season, it often becomes the foundation for the next one. What He finishes now will speak for you in the days ahead. What He establishes now will carry momentum into the future. What He seals now will not need revisiting later. Remain expectant, remain grateful, remain faithful. Heaven is still at work and the plan is still unfolding. And in these closing moments of the year, you may feel a deep stirring within you, a sense that something is aligning even if you cannot explain it fully. That inner witness is not imagination. It is the Spirit of God bearing record with your heart that the cycle is coming to a close. God often signals completion before manifestation, allowing faith to rise before evidence appears. This is why your spirit feels restless, yet hopeful at the same time. Guard that hope carefully. Do not allow the voices of weariness or comparison to steal what God has been nurturing in you all year. Everyone's journey is different and everyone's timeline is unique. God does not measure your progress against another person's breakthrough. He measures it against His perfect will for your life. What matters is not how fast others move, but how well you obeyed, how deeply you trusted, and how faithfully you remained aligned. There are answers arriving that will make past questions irrelevant. There are re-breakthroughs coming that will silence months of uncertainty. There are divine connections forming that will clarify why previous doors had to close. When God completes a chapter, He does not leave loose ends. He ties everything together with precision, ensuring that nothing was wasted, not even the pain. You may soon realize that the lessons you learned this year were not just for survival, but for stewardship. God was training you to handle increase, influence, responsibility, and visibility. What seemed like endurance was actually equipping. What felt like stretching was actually expansion. You were growing into the person required to sustain the promise. As December draws nearer to its end, let your posture be one of readiness, not desperation. Desperation strains the soul, but readiness strengthens it. Readiness says, whenever you say, now I am prepared, it's a quiet confidence rooted in trust, not in timelines. It is the assurance that God's plan does not need your anxiety to succeed. Be attentive in prayer, not to beg, but to listen. God often gives final instructions before final manifestations, small promptings, gentle corrections, subtle redirections. These are not random. They are adjustments for alignment. Obedience in these moments may seem simple, but it carries eternal weight. Some of the greatest miracles happen when people least expect them, because expectation has shifted from excitement to trust. God is not obligated to perform according to your emotional state. He performs according to His word. And His word remains sure, unshaken, and unstoppable. Continue to sow kindness even when you feel unseen. Continue to speak life even when silence surrounds you. Continue to walk uprightly even when shortcuts appear tempting. Integrity positions you for blessings that do not bring sorrow with them. God is careful about how He blesses His people. And know this, when the end of December arrives, it will not merely mark the conclusion of a month, but the confirmation of God's faithfulness. What He has planned will unfold in such a way that your testimony will carry weight, your gratitude will overflow, and your confidence in Him will deepen even further. The unfolding is already in motion. The plan is already active, and heaven is already responding. So as you stand at the edge of this season, let your heart rest in divine assurance. The year has not outrun God, and time has not cornered his promise. What he spoke still stands, unchanged and unchallenged. Every step you took, every delay you endured, every moment you questioned yet remained faithful has been woven into a plan far greater than you imagined. Nothing was wasted, nothing was ignored, nothing slipped through his hands. Let this truth settle deeply within you. God does not rush endings, because endings reveal his mastery. When he finishes completely. What unfolds at the end of December will not only answer prayers, but also affirm your faith, restore your confidence, and remind you that trusting God is never in vain. You will see clearly that he was present in every quiet moment, active in every unseen place, and faithful even when you felt unsure. So close this year with gratitude, not regret, with expectation, not fear, with peace, not pressure. Lift your eyes beyond the calendar and anchor your hope in the one who holds time itself. The promise still stands. The plan is still intact. And the God who began the work is faithful to complete it. What he has spoken will come to pass. And when it does, you will know without a doubt that it happened exactly as he intended, at the right moment, in the right way, for his glory and for your good.